What's up, y'all? This is Lou down here at Real Boxing, and I just wanted to make another video in my Coach to Coach series. So, one thing that happened over the past weekend is one of my fighters had an amateur fight, and right away I could tell that the kid had a lot of experience. First of all, just by his dress and his body language, the way he carried himself. And then at the end of the fight, and it was a good fight. It was competitive. It was very nice, very good fight. At the end of the fight, when he came over to say thank you, as is the custom, I asked him how many amateur fights he had, and he told me that fight was his first fight. There ain't no way that was his first fight. He has experience regardless of if it's here or he had an accent. So what I suspect is he had experience in another country. Now, this is also something that goes on with sparring a lot, and I'm sure it can be prevalent in other sports, where an athlete has a lot more experience than they're willing to say. This is something that we kind of need to address as a community in sports, because it creates situations of unfair advantages, or at the very least, a situation where informed consent is not there. So essentially, if I have a fighter who's really good or very experienced, I'm going to tell you as a coach, hey, if you want your fighter to spar my fighter, if you want your athlete to practice with my athlete, I'm going to let you know up front, they're really good. And I don't want to create a situation of imbalance where your athlete feels embarrassed or, like they feel like they're being taken advantage of. So I'm going to let you know up front, hey, this one's got a lot of experience. Are you sure you want to do this, or how do you want to work it? Do you want us to go lighter? We needed more cohesive interactions with each other, a more cohesive environment within our sports of preventing this kind of problem. Now, here's the thing, like, if that kid would have just told me, yeah, hey, so this is my first amateur fight in the US, but in my home country I had like 40, I'd be like, okay, because it was a competitive fight and my athlete could still handle it. What I don't appreciate is not being given all the information, or at the very least, if you've been training for a long time, even say that. You're like, well, this is my first amateur fight, but I've been in gyms for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, something like that. That also goes a long way to let us know, what we're getting into. Rather than thinking that it's a novice with another novice, and really there's a skill gap, or in this case, it wasn't necessarily a skill gap. It was just, it was my fighter's 5th fight. Like, he's only had 5, but he's been around, so he could, hang with the other athlete. And if that guy's coach would have asked me, hey, how many fights does your kid have? I would have said, hey, look, it's only his 5th amateur fight, but we lost time because of COVID, and he's been with me for a few years now. So yeah, he's pretty decently developed. So when you have an experienced athlete, just be honest about it, be upfront about it. Yeah, you might run into situations where it might be a little bit more difficult to find training partners, but at the very least, you're not the one that comes out looking bad in that situation, or at least comes out looking dishonest, and then we don't have those types of interactions proliferating in our sport. We're now, because one guy does it, a lot of people are going to do it because they think that's the only way they can get work, is to not, when they have a kid that's really good, it's like head and shoulders above other people, they need to reduce, if you say, hey, how much experience does he have? And the coach responds with, well, yeah, he's got some experience. But that doesn't tell me anything. How many fights does he have? He has some fights. That doesn't tell me anything. Give me an idea, not all of us are trying to get one over on each other. Sometimes we just want to know what we're about to embark on so that we can, make good decisions for our fighters. All right? Thanks.